So when one thinks about pop culture heroes of the 60s, the most common is probably the Beatles, and then maybe the Rolling Stones, and then for some, good old Charlie Manson. In this report from A Current Affair from August 8th, 1989, they mark the 20th anniversary of Charlie's followers going into Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate's home and making Charlie a celebrity. That Beach Boys B-side he wrote, it didn't do it. This did. So, you kids that want to learn about one of the 60s giants in pop culture, take a gander at this bit of a current affair.
They practiced what they preached, death. I'm Ari Povich. Welcome to A Current Affair. Try as we might, Charles Manson is a name we cannot forget. The reason we know him, the reason we remember him and revile him is because his followers did just what he wanted, even when it meant the slaughter of a beautiful, innocent, pregnant actress, Sharon Tate, and 6 others in murder sprees in California. Those horrible killings took place 20 years ago tonight, and the man who ordered the deadly rampages now sits safely in a California prison cell. Our Mike Watkiss brings us more on the monster who left a bloody imprint on the national memory.
His name is synonymous with evil, sickness, insanity. Charles Manson, America's most infamous madman. A title Manson earned exactly 20 years ago today, when a mob of his mindless followers went on a murderous rampage at the Hollywood home of director Roman Polanski and Polanski's beautiful wife, actress Sharon Tate. Polanski was away at the time and missed the carnage. Tate and her unborn child were massacred, as were 4 of the couple's jet-setter friends. Then the very next day, Manson's so-called family struck again. This time the victims were an affluent California couple named LaBianca. The technique was the same. Like sharks on a feeding frenzy, the killers reveled in the mayhem. They even wrote on the walls in blood. Los Angeles was terrified. The nation was stunned. And with those events exactly 2 decades ago, America's era of love and flower power seemed to be viciously uprooted.
I didn't break the law. That's what's got me so mad. That's what got me so boiled up. I didn't break the law. I got some friends that killed some people, but my friends have always been killing people. I live in the underworld. My friends have always been, that's part of the life I live.
Unrepentant, Manson is full of madness and hate.
You got to be responsible for you, man. You got to be responsible for your actions. If you want to give me your life, I'll take it. And I'll put it in the deck and I'll deal it. You dig? And if you don't like the way I deal it, then don't give it to me. You dig what I'm saying? But when you give it to me, then it's mine. I deal it any way I want. If I tell it to jump, it'll jump. If it don't, you dig what I'm saying? Then it's not mine. Because I could ask you no more than I could do for you. In other words, if I'm with you, I'm totally there with you. There's no bullshit. I'm not your leader. I'm not your follower. You dig? But if you want to get up and ride, we'll ride. And I'll be right there with you. You see what I'm saying? I don't count pennies. I'm not playing little petty games. You know who I ride with. I ride in Venice, California with straight Satan.
And still, death is never far from the killer's thoughts.
I don't like killing. I don't kill bushes. I don't kill trees. I don't eat animals. I don't like killing. But I'm just like anybody else. I can. When I'm pushed to do that, I can do that just as easy as eating a piece of steak or cooking a chicken.
And years behind bars have done nothing to alter his venomous mentality.
How will I judge anything? I'm judging it from what's inside of me. How will I see anything? I'm seeing it from what's inside of me. The man in the mirror. I go beyond the man in the mirror. Because I set the mirrors on the ends of your roads, Jake. But I set them with these little nooses. When your children come in to me, I hang them on the ventilators according to what I need to be and what I have to get done to weave my patterns to do whatever I have to do to survive.
And often Manson talks of his musical abilities, yet another hoax, according to his jailers.
Music is my soul. Music's the way I express. It's my religion. It's my religion.
Religion that Manson says also includes sex.
Yeah, sex is a reflection. Everything's a reflection of this. When you reflect that, you reflect music. I reflect it in music.
And the years have also done nothing to diminish his ego, as he still boasts about the followers he called his family.
There's a bunch of broads that follow me around, but there's always broads following me around.
No remorse, Charlie Manson blames others for his confinement.
I wouldn't be here had it not been for those people you call family. They're the ones that put me here. They're the ones that butchered up a bunch of people and said, here, we want you to see this guy. I didn't want to be seen. You know, I was trying to get out in the desert. They said, well, this is our star. You dig what I'm saying?
And when it comes to the topic of his victims, Charlie instead dives into a pool of self-pity, never once uttering the name Sharon Tate.
True, I know my mind. And I trust the very same person that you do. And the very same person that you do. I trust the only person left to trust. Me. Because you all lied to me. You all misused me. You all played your little games up on me. You dig what I'm saying? And I let you lay your little old track upon me. And I let you do your little old thing. You dig what I'm saying? Then this guy wants to I said, yeah, all right. You want to lay it right over there by the graveyard so you won't have too far to fall. You see? In other words, like, everybody that thought that they're playing me, I think they'll end up finding out that they got played by themselves.
A swastika emblazoned on his forehead, Charlie Manson preached the philosophy of Hitler to his followers, ideas that he still holds sacred.
Anybody that wants to put order into the world, anybody that's got a brain that wants to put order into the world has got to stumble upon Hitler. Because Hitler started putting order into the world. And when he started putting order into the world, it threw him out, it overwhelmed him. It was too big for him. He couldn't do it, you dig?
And 20 years after the brutal fact, Charlie Manson is still behind bars and still capable of haunting the human soul.
You might say I'm kind of like Satan. I'm in so many different places at once. Phew. Yeah, it would be like Satan. It would be very sharp for one person to do all the things that I'm going to have to do to survive. In you, and in you, and in you, and in you too.
Sometimes we think maybe Manson shouldn't be around. But then again, I look at him and I say to myself, maybe it's good that you can just look at evil and see what it's like. Now, the children of the Manson cult have grown up with a murderous heritage. Now, for the first time, one of them talks about his life and legacy in the Manson family. That's next. And a little later, the flags are flying high, but one man might be laid low in a Michigan squabble over the stars and stripes. We have lived with the awful memory of the Manson murders for 20 years now. In that same period, the children of Manson's followers have grown up, and though their childhood is a thing of the past, their deadly legacy won't fade.
Sharon Tate's baby would be celebrating her 20th birthday this year, but Charles Manson and a band of killers made sure that Roman Polanski would never have that family when his wife and unborn child were slaughtered in their home. During the trial, Manson followers held vigil outside the courtroom, their devotion unyielding. These were the women who would carry the next generation of Mansons.
He's whatever a person wants to make of him. He's a mirror, actually.
The family thrived on a ranch located deep in the heart of Death Valley, where no outside influences could intervene with Manson's master plan. Manson had complete control over his followers and their daily activities. He even controlled their sex lives.
New girl joining the family, he would induce her to have sex with another girl, a boy with a boy. It was pretty obvious what he was trying to do. He was trying to break down their ego and their pride. They were having orgies all the time, but what was happening? What was happening during these orgies? Well, Manson was the maestro, conducting what everyone else did. No one else touched anyone else or kissed anyone else or made love to anyone else unless Manson told them to do so.
Manson placed the greatest emphasis on the children, his own and those of couples within the family. He said they had no egos and had not yet been contaminated by their parents and society. They were raised in an environment of death and drugs and darkness until Manson was behind bars and the family disbanded.
Joining us now from Los Angeles is Julian Terramani, a child of two of the Manson followers. His mother, Ruth Ann Morehouse, the more active follower of Charles Manson. Paul Watkins, his father, really left the group once murder was entering into the Manson family activities. Nice to have you with us, Julian. Your parents were killed last year in a car crash, but you became fascinated after your parents had changed their names and kept your identity a secret at, what, the age of 11?
Yes.
Did they tell you about their connection with Manson?
Yes, they did.
And how did you react?
I really didn't know how to react. I was so young. And by the time I reached 13, that's when I really began to realize that it came to a focus to me.
And you became fascinated with it?
Exactly.
And began to investigate?
Yes, I began to investigate it more and more as the years went by.
Let me ask you about yourself and the other children of this Manson family. You went to school with Jeff Manson, didn't you?
Yes.
The youngest,
in fact,
the youngest son of Charles?
Yes.
What was he
Yes.
like?
Jeff he's a good friend. And in fact, I stumbled on it by accident. I didn't even know who he was until he told me who his parents were, and I just kind of said, okay, it's interesting. And I never told him about my past until I reached about 17. Then I told him, so we used to go out together, with friends and groups and stuff, but we really never really talked about it until about 3 years ago. We sat down and we really talked about it.
Do you believe as a child of one of these family members that you have a cross to bear?
Yes, I do.
And you think Manson's son does too?
Yes, I do.
Is that to say that you kids are going to be different than the rest of us because of what your parents did?
I try not to make it different, but I do let people, when they know me, when they meet me, I don't like to hide. So I tell them, and if they can deal with it, fine. If they can't, then I'm sorry, but this is who I am. These are my roots. This is where I come from. I was not alive during that period. True. I was born in the midst of the trial.
Do you think Charles Manson should be executed?
Yes, I do.
Never,
yes,
and at the very least, never be let out of jail?
No.
As dangerous as he ever was?
Well, actually, I think he should be let out of jail, because that would be a blessing.
Why?
I think killing him, it's too easy. I think he deserves a very long way to die. I know that sounds mean, but for what he
initiated... Sounds worse than mean.
What he initiated was bad, and it was wrong. However, the people that went through with it, those are the ones that I really hold responsible.
Even though some of them say that they were mesmerized and under his spell?
Yes, even that. Leslie Van Houten is the one I sympathize for. The rest, I have no sympathy for them whatsoever.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Julian Terramani.
Thank you.
In Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Old Glory is an old story in East Detroit. It seems there's a flap over the flag flying that may land a salesman in the slammer. We're going to have that story next.
Thanks for watching Cleveland Live Music. It's awfully bright out here. I'd click on another one of my videos. Quit looking into the sun. Your mother told you not to do that. Please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel more, there's GoFundMe and Patreon information in the video descriptions. Ooh, ooh!